public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There may be time for public participation as indicated by agenda item or as directed by the president. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. The meeting will be electronically recorded and will be kept on file in the superintendent's office. A copy of the audio recording will also be available in the NLCS website. So I would just note that we have 2 absent members, Mr. Lombrick, Mrs. Collier. And Tracy, do you want to lead us in the pledge for all of you who can rise and uncover? Thank you. And now I would entertain a motion for review of approval of the minutes of executive session memo from May 16th. Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on this motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Persons to address the board relative to the agenda. Do we have any cards? All right. Dr. Aaron Miller, if you would come up. You have several items for us.
Good evening. The first item, and we're adding this in, after the high ability presentation discussion, I would like to request the approval of the high ability pilot. And I just want to say one more thing after reflecting. The intent of this is not to be exclusionary at all. It is simply to have a starting point to grow the program.
Great. So I would entertain a motion to approve the high ability pilot at Shawswick as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Bailey makes the motion. Do we have a second? Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
I would agree with your last statement there, and better to start somewhere than not start at all.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We got to vote. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries.
Thank you so much. My second item would be the approval of the 12-month high ability math curriculum of Beast Academy. It's a subscription with the art of problem solving.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve item E number 2 as presented.
Make a motion we approve.
Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Number 3.
Thank you. My next item is the approval of the purchase of high ability ELA curriculum of Jacob's Ladder from the Taylor and Francis Group.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve item E number 3 as presented. Mrs. Miller makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Make a second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 4.
Thank you. The approval of the updated NLCS high ability definition and mission statement.
I would entertain a motion for approval of the updated NLCS high ability definition and mission statement as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Bailey makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. King seconds. Any discussion on this motion?
I have a couple
Okay.
comments. One question, one comment. You'll take a look at the code we talked about earlier?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then I would just like to publicly thank you and your broad-based board for all the work you've done. This is something that we've had for a long time, didn't fully implement like we should, and it's nice to have focus on it. Good luck with your long-term planning. And I would like to tell anybody that's listening to this later and tonight that if you haven't decided where you want to send your kids to elementary school, students, children, take a look at this, because this program is very important to our organization. It will succeed. We will expand it. It's a good thing. We have it, and a lot of options don't have it. So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that. It's really exciting for us.
The question goes back to the quantifying part of this. Were those numbers that you had in the presentation earlier, is there a certain score regardless of, or is it a percentile? So I know
Oh, in the
it
testing?
had to have been a test score flat number. 94 or above, okay,
Yes, COGAT score.
okay.
And if you want, I can share all that information
it's-
with you at
It's
another
based
time.
on ability and not achievement, right? So it
Yes.
helps to identify our kids who may have the ability but aren't. They may not be a high achiever, but they do have the high ability.
Yeah, I guess my concern there is in the qualitative
Structure.
definition, the subjective nature of someone at one school being a little more strict in their interpretation, someone in a different school being a little more liberal, and so I just want to make sure it's even keeled in terms of how we select who's.
And I see those as two different. So there's the criteria to be considered high ability, and I see the qualitative definition of this is sort of the experience of a high ability student at NLCS.
Sure, yeah, I don't
Yes.
exactly know how the definition was being applied,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and the state, and it's, has a high ability bracket that has, but it encourages people that if they want to adjust that definition, they can. It's just sort of, yeah, so it really doesn't cover what actually is being
Right,
done
what's being-
to identify them, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And I think it should be pronounced COGAT instead of COGAT, the way it's written.
COGAT.
Just the way it's written, it looks to me like
Yeah.
that's the way it should be.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries. Number 5.
Thank you. And the last item is approval of BNL High School Summer Theater Camp.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve the B&L Summer Theater Camp.
So moved.
Mr. Bailey makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Parsley seconds. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, I think this is a bad idea. I think it's the wrong choice for our schools. I don't think we should approve it. I think when we approve it, we're promoting it, and I think that's the wrong thing to do for a corporation.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, here.
I didn't agree with a lot of what was read, but it went through the proper channels. They approved it, so, and I'm like Adam, I don't think it should have ever got to our level, but I will.
Request a roll call vote.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote. So, any other discussion before we do that? All right, so we will, so all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. We'll start with Mr. Bailey.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, any abstention? Well, no, there's none left. Never mind. So, motion carries 4-1. Thank you, Dr. Miller.
Thank you.
Mr. Yancey.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. We're asking approval of the Indiana Association of Career and Technical Education District's annual summer conference professional development for Amy Redmond in Nashville, Indiana on June the 10th through the 11th, 2024.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve item F number 1 as presented.
Make a motion we approve.
Mr. King makes the motion. Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Number
Thank you.
2. Mm-hmm.
We are asking approval for David McCart and Brad Holmes to attend the Collaborate to Educate Welding Educator Conference in Troy, Ohio on June 18th through the 19th, 2024.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented. Mrs. Miller makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll
Second.
Oh, give
Mr.
Tracy.
Bailey seconds. Any discussion on this motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, thank you. Number 3.
Thank you. We're asking approval to pay legal expenses related to defending a lawsuit captioned Dr. Thomas T. Mungle, plaintiff, versus North Lawrence Community School Corporation, School Board, and Dr. Wendy Miller as a member of the North Lawrence Community School Board and individually, defendants in case number 47C01 24504 CT 000546.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve with one amendment. The cause number, the second series of numbers, 24504, should be 2404. The 5 shouldn't be there. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve it with that.
Amendment,
With that
okay,
number,
that correction.
that number corrected.
Okay, got it.
Do we have a second? Mrs. Miller seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any, I'm going to abstain from that. So that is a 4-0.
4-1.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to any persons to address the board not relevant to the agenda. Okay. Our next meeting, I believe, is June 20th? 20th. And any other meetings that might be added, we will certainly advertise as required. So with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Parsley makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bailey seconds. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you.